In this video, we are going to talk about the number 25/7. Also, just about the number 7. You're going to learn a lot about that, and a little bit about 2, a little bit about 5. And this is for people who are born the 25th, or a day that adds to a 7, a month that adds to a 7, which would be, what is the 7th month? June? No, July. A year that adds to 7 or 25, or a life path that adds to a 25 or a 7. This is a good video for you to watch. Okay, let's talk about it. So, off the bat, we can say this number is associated with wisdom through experience. It's a number that learns as they grow. Their 25 is, the 5 is very adventurous, curious. It wants stimulation. It wants to experience. It's explorative. And it's the guiding force of this number. 2 is sort of serving the 5 here. So what happens here is this number wants to go out and travel. It wants to explore. It wants to have adventures. It wants to go and stimulate itself intellectually. And it's very, very restless. And the 2 will just go and facilitate because 2 is a facilitator. And through over time of basically the number that throws mud against the wall to see if it sticks, they get 7, which is truth and understanding. So through their restlessness, their change, their dynamicism, experience of different people, places, cultures, different ways of doing things like this, they will figure it out as they go along. This is a general thing. So it's called wisdom through experience. Experience here being the 5, wisdom being the 7. All right, let's start breaking the number down though. Number 1, let's start with the number 7. This is a number that's, this 25/7 is a kind of 7. There's many different types of 7s. And in Chaldean, all the compound numbers matter very, very much about what kind of, if it's a 52 or 25, there's a lot of differences. Just like there is with 43, 34, all this. Okay, number 7. 7 in general is an aloof energy. Now this number has a very interesting setup. We're going to talk about the 7 and the 5. This is very, very important. We're going to get into that in a moment. 7 is a number in the sequence of creation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What do we have? Let's talk about the number that just precedes it and the number that just comes after it. 6 is the stage where coherence is created, harmony. After 5 creates alchemy, 6 is what unites and brings everyone together. And when 6 creates such a harmony, such a coherence, transcendence, the 7, is allowed to happen. 7 is all about pulling energy from the outside world and turning it inwards. And understanding, standing underneath the conscious mind and the subconscious, the thoughts and emotions. 7 is the first energy that detaches from the structure and looks at it like they're looking at it from the outside, like they're looking in. So it's like the witness state. 7 is a number also considered number of truth because 7 goes to the bottom. It goes to the root. Ketu, 7, root chakra. It goes to the root of creation. It wants to understand how things work. 7 energy takes complexity and it breaks it down into the most fundamental components until it gets down to the seed. So one thing about 7 energy is it's not ideal to work. It's considered not ideal to work out on these days because 7 has a breaking down energy. 7 can create separation from the material world. It can make somebody very, very aloof. It can create loss. Loss here being defined as material loss because 7 energy, not that they can do really good materially, but in imbalance especially, there can be a hyper renunciation where they will, an extreme imbalance or an extreme spectrum. 7 can be the number of the monk, the renunciate, the ascetic, who kind of renounces the world, takes a step back, and then goes and takes off their clothes and lives in a cave. That kind of number. Not that that's bad. There's nothing wrong or right in this world. It's all subjective perspective. It's a number of the mystic. One of the cool things about 7 energy is they are magnetic in the sense of they pull, the energies kind of got a pull on it. And what happens with 7s is when they understand something and they penetrate, because 7s are very, very penetrative. They read between the lines. They're very, very observant. They're like cats. That's why 7, K2, cat's eye, the stone. Because 7 is the person who can sit there and people watch and they can understand all the stuff about what's going on. They can read between and look at the body language, look at how they're talking to each other. They're looking at everything. They can understand these things because they have a mind that is very, very naturally intelligent. Okay, so 7, as I mentioned, is a step back energy, and in balance, they're too aloof. They're too cut off. They're too isolated into introvert energy, and this is okay. 7s need to introvert. They have periods of me time or alone time so they can recharge. This is how 7s are supposed to function. They're supposed to access their self. If they're around too many people all the time, they're not able to access and be with themselves to get into a state of understanding, because this state's very, very important for them, because it's how they carry themselves into the world. It's how they're supposed to function. They're supposed to be like the mystic, where people will just random people maybe can come to them and will somehow get a conversation going, and then the 7 knows exactly what they're going to be able to say some words to them. 7 is a speak when spoken to number. It's not a number that initiates, especially this number 25-7, because it's got a 2 on the outside as well. 2s are not initiators. This number is a very, very intuitive, aware number. What do I mean by this? Sorry, not the 7 outside. Yes, the 7 and the 2 on the outside. So this is a number that can really read the room. Why? Because it has the 2, which is a very intuitive number. Why is it intuitive? It means 2s are always listening to not just the sounds that, like the spoken word, the subtle vibrations. 2s are listening to the environment. They're sensing it, and they're intuiting it through their emotions. Like they're reading stuff through their subconscious they may not be aware of. And then they feel, oh my God, I just feel this is right, or I feel this about this space, or whatever. But 7 is more of an intellectual. They have more of a conscious awareness, especially in this number, because 7 here is the conscious awareness of the number. This is a very, very intuitive, potentially very, very intuitive number who can really read the room, read people, and read the space. Very, very intuitive number. Let's start talking about it more. So the 5, of course, wants freedom. It wants stimulation. It wants to explore. Because 5 is a great exchanger of ideas, exchanger of information, the cross-pollinator. And it uses this ability to connect with other people as a way, so it will network with other people as a way to learn as well. Relationships become really, really an interesting thing with this. Now, 5 is also the number of dynamicism and a little bit of erraticness. So it can be very superficial, very intellectual. This number between the 5 and the 7 is a very, very intellectual number. They like to study. Okay, and there's also a 3 on the inside, which we're going to talk about. The one thing in imbalance in this, now remember the digit sums also shows the balance code of the relationship between the 2 and the 5. What we have here is 5 is, like I said, very erratic, very unstable. 2 craves stability. 2s like that fixedness because they come from the 1. They long for unity. They don't like constant change and all of it because it can really make their nervous system. The 2 and the 5 here can make someone very, very overwhelmed, overstimulated. They're sensitive. 2s are very sensitive. They're picking up a lot. 5 is very, very like this. So 7 here also becomes the success code, which means stepping back from the emotions, the mind, and going into where you're seeing both of them but not attached to them. You're not involved or identified with them. You're stepping back and you're more playing the role of observer. You're not getting too evolved emotionally. You're using the emotions and intellect, but you're not identifying with them, if that makes sense. You're looking at them as almost different from you. There's a separation that's there. That separation is needed for this number to function without becoming overwhelmed. Now, on the inside, this 5, this desire for freedom, and the 7 actually work very well, because if you look at a 7, you break it down. 7 has a 5 inside of it. Because why is 7 needs to have that curiosity, that sense of inner freedom, that this transcendent perspective where they're very, very aware, very, very aware person. This is 7s, especially a 25-7 with the 7 and the 2 on the outside. This is going to be very hard to lie to this person, because they're going to be able to read and be very, very aware of what you're saying. Especially, they'll be able to hear someone speak, and then just from the sound signature, without even the words, they'll be able to or learn a lot from someone just by the way that they speak, because their way they're listening and the way the 7 is there to break that sound signature down. They can really pick up a lot from just someone talking. But inside, this number is meant to be needs to be very, very creative, very, very expressive, because the 5 and the 7 here, the 5 wants the freedom, the 7 wants to kind of take a step back and be very, very analytical. 5's also very, very intellectual. This number needs to embrace like this childlike energy on the inside, the way they think like a child, think in creative ways. But it is a 12-3. 12-3 is a number that can flip things on its head and easily misunderstand the outside world, which ties in line with this 2 on the outer digit. 2 can do this as well, because 2 is a second guess number. It's also very, very adaptable. It doesn't really kind of know who it is, generally speaking, in an imbalance, especially because 2 can be very, very waxing and waning, duality, polarity, bipolar like this, yin and yang, just kind of untethered. So this number needs to watch out for misunderstandings, being when they're taking in information and misunderstanding it, flipping on its head and spinning it around and telling its stories. Instead, what would be really good for this number is to speak out things that they're thinking about, write stuff out, use a voice app on their phone to talk through ideas, and take the first thought that they have, their first gut feeling, their intuition, and go with that, and try to avoid spinning things around too much. But in general, this number is really, really suited for creativity and for creating expansion of their mind, expansion of their thoughts. This expansion comes from when they're understanding things, and the 5 is a really an alchemist. It can synthesize information very quickly. And this number, when they experience something outside, they can create really rapid and profound expansion of thoughts, like this huge rabbit hole just appear in their head, like this. So this is how this number works on the inside. On the outside, this 2 and a 7 creates a 72-9. Means that instincts, this number needs to follow their instincts out the road. They need to first they're not a number that's going to initiate. They're a number that's going to be very, very active. They need to read the room and then follow their instincts. Read the what's in front of them, the circumstances, and follow their instincts. Take action. Take action on your instincts. This is the success code for how this number is supposed to work in the outer world. Take action on your instincts. Okay, inwardly, this number creates a 93. So, in order for this number to feel satisfied, this number really needs a creative outlet. Very, very important, doubly important for this number. They need a creative outlet, something that they can maybe do some art where this creative outlet is very important to distinguish, is something that is not premeditated, not with structure. It's just raw. They just let it out, kind of create out like blank canvas. I'm just going to paint whatever comes to me kind of energy. I want to just speak my mind. Just want to communicate or something like this. Also, achievement is very important. This number wants to achieve something. Deep down, they want to achieve something they can touch and take, something that tangible, that they can feel. Like they want to, through their travels and experiences and their understandings, they want to be able to accomplish something with that. That's really, really important for this number as well. They feel that inside. So 93 is in a general is talking about through their creativity, this desire to express, taking action, following their instincts on their creativity. This is how this number is supposed to work on an emotional level. Following their emotional instincts, their creativity, and their instincts on how to pursue that. That will help them to come and bring themselves to achievement. This is a really, really cool number. Very, very interesting number. It may take a little bit longer. This is the kind of number that needs to touch the stove to find out that it's hot. And they may do that a couple times before they decide, maybe I shouldn't do that. So this is a number that will probably go through of course, it depends on where it is in your chart. But it will be one of those numbers that kind of grows a little bit over time. It takes a little bit of time to kind of, like a stallion, like I've mentioned, used this analogy in the past, with master numbers particularly, but this number as well needs to be broken in because it can feel overwhelmed. And this is one of the last things I'll say about the number is when it's in balance is when the 2 tries to take over. When it becomes too sensitive, too much like a people pleaser, and too timid. 5 wants to go. 5's restless. It wants to change. It's like the adventure. 5's like the energy. I can just throw myself in the unknown and just kind of go and follow. 5's supposed to follow synchronicities. So this number really needs to be guided first by the synchronicities and then flow. They're going to have an urge to just, every time they're curious, they want to go and try it. They want to go and like, let's just go and do that. But this number is really, really well suited for following synchronicities and not being timid. Use the 2 energy, the sensitivity, the empathy, the ability to facilitate and connect to support the 5, not to direct the 5. So when you feel the urge for change and you want to travel and you want to be dynamic, you want to go and network, you want some sort of exploration, some adventure, allow that to happen. And then within that, use your sensitivity to cultivate intuition that will lead to understanding on what you're supposed to do next and what you're supposed to learn from this. So you can also make connections with this 5 and 2 energy, as it would be a very good networker as well. But remember, this is a networker that's supposed to use their magnetic pull. They're going to be a good speaker. They have a natural gift to be a good speaker, a good at expressing themselves. As inherent within them when they're in a balanced state. But this is a number that's supposed to react, not initiate. Okay, this video somehow got really long. I don't know. I feel like I didn't even cover that much of this number. There's so much to talk about with this number. But it depends on where this number is in your chart. Is it your birthday? Is it your life path? Is it your year? Is there hidden 25s in your birthday as well? Which is something you can calculate using Chaldean numerology, doing numeroscopes. If you're interested in having a reading or analysis, leave a comment below. Also, check out the description where I'll be posting my website link. If you have any comments, questions, feedback, also leave a comment. I'd love to get in discussion with you guys. If you found this video helpful, anything at all, give it a like so other people can find it as well. For more videos like this in the future, hit the subscribe button. And, as always, happy manifesting, wish you the best. Until next time, God bless. Om.